settings. If it's Flickr, click up here where it says Publish Services. There's a little plus sign over here. And here's a choice called Edit Settings. This will be all the settings, the generic settings for Flickr if you have it the wrong size or you have the wrong watermark or those kinds of things. And one of those is the export location. But that's one place you can do it. Other places is if you come down to any one of these gallery-like things you might have created, you can right-click on them and choose either Rename, right there, or you can choose Edit. And you're going to get some choices in there. You have to see if you change this name, if it's going to reflect it on Flickr or not. I can get rid of the exclamation point here. Hit Save. Okay, it's gone there. And then let me first look on Flickr to make sure that I think it's going to be in a, just not certain if it is in a gallery called that yet or not. I just want to check. Yep, there's one called Route 66. It's got 8 photos. When I change the name, though, this does not change. So it looks like it's not going to be updating it if I edit my Smart Photo Set and just change the name up there. Let's see if there's anything else I might be able to do. Right here, keywords. No. I'm just going to take one more look. That one, see if it's going to do it on the actual site. I don't believe it will. It doesn't look like it, so I'm not sure where you go about actually doing it after you've published it. You could always delete them and then re-upload them as a new one. But I'm not sure how you would change the actual name on that site. You might actually have to get on your browser and do something on the site itself.
Okay. Question from Lane Torres Photography. What is the difference between photo set and smart photo set?
A photo set is both a photo set and a smart photo set are just different words for collections. They're the exact same idea as a collection and a smart collection. And the way I describe the difference between those is a collection is something where you drag your images on top of it. That's what causes images to appear in there. A smart collection is really a saved search. It's going to search for everything that's 5 stars and above and has the keyword of Iceland, that kind of thing. So anytime you look in here and you see the wording, if you just see the word collection, that means a virtual folder that I'm going to drag things on top of to get to that service. If it is a smart collection or a smart photo set, just look at the word smart versus not. Smart means it's a saved search. Okay? Sure. All right, so published services. Wasn't sure how we were going to handle that as far as not being able to show Facebook or Flickr online, but I think that was a way that made it so you get some sense for what's possible there, and I think it could be a good use. All right. So then what I'd like to get into next is talking about adjustments. And one of the adjustments I'd like to get into is HDR. HDR stands for High Dynamic Range, and all that means is a wider brightness range than usual in your photo. So here's an example. When I was in Southeast Asia, I shot these images, and in this shot, there's no shadow detail in the area close to the camera. But I was able to get this temple in the distance looking fine. Well, I set up my camera for auto bracketing, and when I have it set to auto bracketing, if I push and hold the shutter, it's going to take more than one shot. And so those will be progressively brighter. Here's the second shot that I got, and here's the third shot that I got. I believe the difference in exposure between these is 2 stops on each. So on this shot, I have the shadow detail, but the highlights out by the temple are just gone. So I could try to take one of these other shots and just adjust it. And I probably would do okay. In fact, let me see. I would usually go for the brightest shot where you haven't really lost much of the highlights. So in this image, I've lost a lot of the highlights. This image here, if I've lost any highlight detail, it's in relatively small areas. Let's first just see what can I get out of it in the Develop module. I'll hit the letter D for Develop. And let's just adjust it. We'll take a look. I'm going to update the process to the new one because it's got the little exclamation point in the corner. And I'm going to come in and bring up my shadows to see how much detail I can get. Amazing amount of detail comes out of there. And my highlight's a little bright, so I'll bring down